In a quiet suburban neighborhood, there was an urban legend about a faceless man who wandered the streets at night. He was said to be a tall figure, dressed in dark clothes, with no eyes, mouth or nose, just a smooth, blank surface where his face should be. The legend warned that if you ever saw him, you should look away immediately and never acknowledge his presence. One night, a young woman named Priya was walking home alone. It was late, and the streetlights flickered as a chill ran through the air. As she passed by an alley, she heard soft footsteps behind her. She turned her head slightly and caught a glimpse of a figure out of the corner of her eye. It was tall and dark, standing completely still in the shadows. Priya felt her heart race as she remembered the legend of the Faceless Man. She kept walking, faster now, hoping it was just her imagination. But then she heard the footsteps again, this time closer. She couldn't help it. She glanced back. Standing in the middle of the sidewalk was the Faceless Man. He was perfectly still, facing her direction, yet there was nothing where his face should be. Just a smooth, pale surface, devoid of any features. Priya froze, her breath hitching in her throat. She wanted to scream, to run, but it felt like the air around her had turned to ice. The Faceless Man began to move, walking slowly towards her. His movements were unnaturally smooth, like he was gliding over the ground. Priya's body finally responded to her panic, and she turned and ran, not daring to look back again. She sprinted to her house, slamming the door behind her and locking it. Gasping for breath, she peeked out the window. The street was empty. She waited, heart pounding in her chest, but the Faceless Man was nowhere to be seen. Trying to calm herself, she turned on all the lights and sat on the couch, telling herself it was just a trick of the mind, an illusion. But then a soft knock came at her door. She froze, the color draining from her face. The knock came again, this time louder. Gathering every ounce of courage, she approached the door and looked through the peephole. There was no one there. Relieved yet still on edge, she backed away from the door. But as she turned, she saw it, her reflection in the hallway mirror. Standing behind her was the Faceless Man, his featureless head leaning towards her ear, as if whispering something only she could hear. Priya screamed, spinning around, but the hallway was empty. The mirror, however, remained the same. Her reflection was gone, replaced entirely by the Faceless Man who stood there staring at her from the other side of the glass. Since that night, Priya was never seen again. But some say if you look into a mirror in a dark room, you might catch a glimpse of her standing beside him. Now a part of his collection of stolen faces, trapped forever in the Faceless Man's realm.